Okay, well, if everybody is ready, I will call this meeting to order tonight. Welcome to all the board members and staff members that are online and to others that may reach us by other means. The first order of business is to approve the agenda, and I'll entertain a motion to do that.
I would make a motion that we approve the agenda as printed.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as it's been published. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? And that is approved. We have an information items report. The first thing we have on there is the proposed graduation plans given by our superintendent, Tom Albertson. So Tom, you have it.
Okay. Thank you, Board Chair Carey. Things are happening quickly. I'm just finally getting some approvals of some temporary plans in from Panhandle Health and from the building principals just as we speak this afternoon. So I'm going to give you the temporary plans, and please know that these may be subject to change, but we're getting really, really close. And what we know is it's very, very important for us to be celebrating our seniors. And we have collected a lot of information. Some buildings have reached out to their students, out to their parents, and trying to collectively bring in all this information and come up with the best plan possible. So here it goes. The first graduation that is scheduled is Clark Fork High School, and it was originally scheduled for June 3rd, and we are going to keep that date, June 3rd, as of now, in a tentative plan. What we are still in stage 3, which in stage 3 means that between 10 to 50 people, and so that's where that was a little more complicated. So one plan that we had to adjust that. So as of now, Clark Fork High School will have a stage in front of their school. Families will be coming into the parking lot. Principal Phil Kemick will have more details out to the family, but we will be staging the graduates, and then it will be an outdoor ceremony where families will have to stay in their cars. This is very similar to what's happening down in Kootenai County at the fairgrounds with Post Falls, Coeur d'Alene, Lake City, Lakeland, Timberlake. So I am working with Phil on all the details, but the exciting news is we did get that approved from Panhandle Health, and we just have a few more details just in what that's going to look like. So that's Clark Fork High School. Sandpoint High School, as of this afternoon, is going to stick with their original date of June 5th. That is still in stage 3. We did get approval from Panhandle Health this afternoon. It will also be something very similar to Clark Fork in the sense that we will be rearranging Sandpoint High School parking lot for the families to be in their vehicles. We would be staging graduates using social distancing, like 40 at a time. We would have a stage and a projector on the front of the school for everybody to be able to see. And we would also, at Sandpoint High School, are making arrangements to have it on FM radio so that the families could listen to the ceremony and listen to the speeches through their radio. And that's kind of where we are with Sandpoint High School with June 5th. Lake Pend Oreille has chosen to move their, they were supposed to have gone June 4th. We could not get approval for a gathering because it was only up to 50. So they have moved their ceremony to June 15th. And that is still that's going to be an indoor event at the Sandpoint Event Center using social distancing, masks, all the precautions, and also limited guests. But we would be though there are, I believe, 19 graduates, with even limited guests, we would have been over that 50 mark. So that event center, I think, holds 400. We're targeting to be between 80 to 100. And there would be enough 10 feet apart, social distancing with the graduates and the guests. So as of now, those are the 3 plans, which I feel fairly solid about. And those are, I don't have down to every detail. I will leave that to the principals. But anyway, the good news is that we have a plan for celebrating the hard work and 12 years or 13 years of education of these graduates. So that's where we're at. I would entertain any questions if you have them. Yeah, Geraldine?
Okay.
I have a quick question. Can you remind us of the number of graduates at Clark Fork High School?
21.
And would those 21 do the social distancing out on the stage, and then their families be in the cars?
Their families would be in the car with only 21. So at Sandpoint High School, the graduates would be in the car with their family and then come out of the car by rows and then go back and get in their cars. At Clark Fork, we haven't quite worked those details out. We may be able to social distance 21 at another site before we would bring them across the stage. So it's a big difference between 231 and 231 at Sandpoint High School, and then the 21 at Clark Fork.
Yeah.
And then 18.
Okay, thank you. Lonnie, did you have a question?
Yeah, I was just going to ask how many are we projected at SHS? So
yeah, that's
and we'll be at it'll be still stage two at SHS, so up to 50.
Right. We would be in stage 3.
I mean. Yeah.
And that would be no gatherings between 10 to 50.
10
between
to 50.
10 and 50 people. June 12th is the end of that. So June 13th is when you would start stage 4, which would be 50 or more. We just don't know from Panhandle Health. We don't know what the more than 50 means.
Right.
It could be more than 50, but less than 250.
Right.
Which then still would not allow Sandpoint High School to have a more traditional type of graduation ceremony. So we talked long and hard about waiting and pushing theirs out farther, but on advice that we received, we don't know, just because it says more than 50, we don't know exactly what that means at this point in time.
Well, because, I mean, arguably, you're at, I mean, I don't know how many, you're pushing 1,000, I'm guessing, of actual attendees at a regular.
Usually it's closer to 2,500.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, between the bleachers and the number of chairs. Usually
everybody's down on the field. That's right. So
1,200 chairs out in addition to the bleachers.
Holy smokes.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. So
good call.
We know that this graduation ceremony is going to look different, but I'm glad that the plans are starting to come together, and so that we can and I'll leave that up to the building principals to be notifying the families. And so I know people are anxiously wanting to know.
Thanks, Tom. Pearlie, do you have any questions?
No, I sure don't. They've been answered. Thank you.
Okay, how about you, Gary?
A couple. Are you going to issue the kids gowns? And is there going to be music, recorded music or live music?
Yeah, those are still the details. The cap and gowns have already been ordered. Everything as normal has already been ordered earlier in the year. They've arrived. So everything would be there. Details like, and I know Kelly will reach out to what board members would want to be present at which graduation ceremonies, but it will be different. We would not have all board members or even myself sitting next to each other on the stage. We won't be doing a handshake. So those are the details that we have to say is how do we acknowledge the graduate for their hard work with social distancing and how they get their diploma. So those are still the details that we're working out of what's going to be most meaningful and respectful to the graduates, but still stay within the social distancing guidelines.
Oh, I'm
Very good.
disappointed because this is my last 6th grade class. I won't get my hugs.
Yeah.
Well-
They can come by your car maybe one at a time. And
No, that's okay. I understand, but it is disappointing.
yeah.
Well, Tom, I'd just like to say I'm very pleased with the planning that's going on, that we're going to be able to recognize these students. So I thank everybody for the work they've done already and look forward to the outcome. So very pleased with that. If there are no more questions, we'll move on to other items. The first action item that we have is the negotiated agreement that's put forward, and I'll let Tom brief all of us on that.
Yeah. So school board with representation from Board Chair Terry Kelly and Vice Chair Geraldine Lewis met along with myself to negotiate with the LPOEA. And you have the document in front of you, and through that negotiation is the document that came forward for you. We've invited LPOEA President Brian Smith to join us today. He can help answer any questions if you have any questions. And so I guess I would leave it at that. Carrie, Geraldine, if you had any, you were there, or if any other board members have direct questions, rather than us going back through every point of negotiations, which again would just be renegotiating, we thought we would leave the questions to you of after you've read the documents of any clarification you would like. And Brian's available to work with that as answer those as well.
Thanks, Tom. Since I was there, I don't have any questions, but I certainly open up to the others, to Gary, Lonnie, and Pearlie, if they have any questions after reading it.
I don't have any questions, but I would like to make a comment. I want to thank those of you that were in that negotiation. This document looks very nice.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, well, Brian Smith is with us. Do you have any things that you would like to point out as highlights or maybe possible changes to the contract?
Nothing unless you have a specific question, though I will say the association did we had our ratification meeting and we completed that this afternoon, and it was approved with 100% of those voting. So thought I'd let the board know that.
Okay, thank you. Well, if there are no other questions, I'd entertain a motion then to approve the negotiated agreement that we've made.
I would make a motion that we approve the negotiated agreement for 2020-21 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the negotiated agreement. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Kelly, would you like a roll call vote?
Maybe that would be okay since we can't see each other. So that's a good idea, Kelly. We'll have a roll call vote on this.
Roll call vote, Trustee Superger.
Aye.
Trustee Lewis.
Aye.
Trustee Decker.
Aye.
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Kelly.
Aye.
Thank you.
And with a unanimous vote, that is adopted.
And I just wanted to say one more thing. I just wanted to thank the board. I feel that in this district, we work so much like a team all year long, not just in negotiations. And I just greatly appreciate everybody at the district office and at the board for the work that they do and the collaboration that we have. So I just wanted to pass that on. I really do appreciate it. We have a very collaborative district that really works as a team.
I agree, Brian. You can't see me. I'm nodding here at everything you say. I think the work you're doing as a president liaison between the two groups is extraordinary. Thank you.
And I would echo that, Carrie, as superintendent. You know, I guess I would bring up one point on the negotiations, in the sense that if we did not have any language on furlough days, and that language is now in the negotiated agreement, and that is something that is jointly agreed upon between the teachers and the school board. And so we're hoping that we do not need to exercise that language. But I really appreciate Brian's work and the whole association in collaboration, in coming together so that we have a clear path for whatever is coming our direction in the fall. We feel very prepared for that. And so it's a lot of hard work on a lot of people's part. So I would also echo that and say thank you.
Hey, thanks, Tom. Yeah, I will second what Tom said. It's a very good relationship that we have with the Education Association and the staff and the board. It's really nice to work with these folks. Okay, well, let's go on to the consent agenda. That's the next item that we have here. And we'll get a motion to approve that, please.
I would make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, and that is carried by unanimous vote. Next, we have we have information items and reports. The first one is the first reading of policy 2420, Title I Family Engagement. And Jackie Johnson is here, I think, to present that to us. Jackie? I hope.
Jackie, you're on mute.
Thank you. Chairman Kelly, members of the board, and guests, good evening. My name is Jackie Johnson, and I'm the title director for the district. One of my responsibilities is to host a district leadership advisory committee meeting annually to review this family engagement policy. And we held this meeting on April 23rd by way of a Google Hangout. And we had a teacher representative from each of the title schools who brought either a parent in online or brought their recommendations to the meeting. We had 3 school principals and representatives from other programs. The policy changes in front of you do not reflect any federal program changes, nor do they reflect a shift in any procedures. But what they do contain is some wordsmithing. For example, the statement of purpose is now framed in a more positive light. We've replaced Title I with the more preferred term school-wide, and all the other changes are for readability. Okay. Another comment I'd like to say is that, you know, with this distant learning, one silver lining has been the family engagement. Having teachers work with families, work with students, contact parents back and forth. The family engagement has really increased through this. Thank you. Any questions?
Okay, any questions from the board?
Nope. Not for me.
Nope.
Thank you.
Well, Jackie, I would just like to say thank you for the work you do on this. I've read the document, and it's nice to have something like that in place, and thank you for doing the heavy lifting on it.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next we're down to announcements, and we'll start off our superintendent.
Yeah, we talked a lot earlier on a discussion item of graduation. That's not the only classes that have kind of a landmark celebration, and that would be our sixth graders in our kindergarten class. So that promotion from kindergarten to first grade is always a big deal, and the same way as leaving sixth grade. So I want you to know that each of the elementary principals and their staff are working on how they can best celebrate those. We did talk today about some of those plans, and yes, we would rather have an in-person ceremony, but there's just a lot of creativity with students providing a picture of themselves and a video going together with that. And really, it's going to, a lot of sixth graders and kindergartens are going to have a keepsake that they'll be able to take with them. So again, I want to say kudos to our teaching staff and our elementary building principals for their creativity and recognizing that just need to acknowledge and to celebrate. So that's one thing that's happening. Also, we talked today about our middle schools creating a virtual tour of their building. So, for example, at the Sandpoint Middle School, and Phil was going to do a welcoming presentation to the sixth graders at Hope Elementary. But Casey and crew were going to be putting together a virtual tour, welcoming the sixth graders into Sandpoint Middle School, trying to alleviate some of that fear. I mean, things we talk about is that, okay, what's it going to be? It's a big transition in a normal year, and it may even be a bigger transition. Same thing with going from 8th grade into 9th grade. So we are working on some creative ways that we can get that to families to make those students welcome and let them know. Some of that work had started before we went into the soft closure, but it will continue. So proud of the work that's happening in that realm right now. And then also we are extending, and we have open right now our kindergarten registration for next year. So that's always an exciting time where we can bring new families into Lake Pend Oreille School District. And so that is an online registration. And for families that do need a paper registration, you can go to your building. But we tried to really make it convenient with an online registration that you could get your kindergarten students registered for next school year. So those are a few of the announcements I have. Just some again, the creative things that are going on in the school district. And again, we're just working through, every day on our reopening plan. Like I said, we had the meeting last week where we know we're not reopening as true face-to-face this year, but we're still working on that plan for the fall. So those are the announcements I have today.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Do we have anything from either Lisa or Andrea? Like to have any announcements? I don't hear anything. Does any of your staff members have anything to say?
Andrea, did I cover it all, or did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I believe it was addressed. Just again, another thank you to our staff. We're also working hard on this final round of packets for elementary, keeping in mind that many of our families have been called back to work. So we're thinking about high student engagement and just lightening the load a bit for this final round. And we have opened our report card and grading window a bit early so staff can begin working on strengths for individual students and also goals for summer. So staff are taking some additional time to write narrative comments due to this distance learning phase. So just a thanks for your support and a thanks to our staff.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, if no other announcements, we will have the next action item, which is go into executive session. So I will entertain a motion to do that.
I would make a motion that we move into executive session as provided for, and I'm reading here, as provided for in Idaho Code Title 74, Section 206, subsection 1F, to communicate with legal counsel for the public agency to discuss the legal ramifications of and legal options for pending litigation or controversies not yet being litigated but imminently likely to be litigated. The mere presence of legal counsel at an executive session does not satisfy this requirement.
I'll second that.
It's been moved to second to go in executive session. Any further discussion? In that case, we'll need a roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote, Trustee Decker,
Aye.
Trustee Williams,
Aye.
Trustee Superger,
Aye.
Trustee Lewis,
Aye.
Trustee Kelly.
Aye. That motion is passed, so we'll take a very short recess and adjourn to executive session.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, let's see. We have
Looks like
Yep.
we're waiting for Gary.
Gary.
okay.
Hi, Gary.
Okay, we're gathered again in open session. There's no further agenda items to have. There were no motions coming out of executive session. And of course, no decisions were made. If there's no further business, we'll stand adjourned. Thank you all very much.